Is it cheating tracing your drawings? Well, one thing I would say, there's no way on earth I could have done as many lessons as I've done, literally around about 300 or 400 without tracing. I've got to save that time. It's just impossible to do that volume without it. But here's one thing I would say. It all depends on you. If you want to just get to the colouring stage and that's what you enjoy, do what you enjoy. As simple as that. You're doing the drawings for yourself. Now, if you feel deep down inside you're cheating, it doesn't feel right to you, then that's another story. Okay, now it may well be a good thing if it's affecting you in that way to learn to draw freehand. There's many ways you can do it. You could use a grid method, proportional dividers. They're all ways of using different tools, or you can use your pencil to measure, as I'll show in this drawing. Totally up to you. But at the end of the day, do what makes you feel good. If you've got plenty of time, drawing freehand is a really good skill to have. It helps you to understand the structure. I do animals, as you probably know, so it helps me to understand the way the muscle is shaped, the proportions. You know, you become more intimate with the subject. So in this video, I'm going to show you a freehand drawing of a lion. It's not particularly basic to get you started. I hope to have time to do perhaps a drawing course, a beginner's drawing course in the near future. So let's jump right in. But when I want to challenge myself and I've got plenty of time, that's when I like to draw. It's a great tool to have in your toolbox to be able to freehand. Now, this is a tiny little drawing, okay, just something that's a bit of fun to do. The lighting is really great on the lion. I love this kind of dramatic lighting, and that helps it to become a dramatic piece of art. So what have I got here? Just a cheap A4 piece of printer paper, okay, just something cheap, scrap paper, because all this is going to do is give me the drawing so that I can then trace it to put it onto my pastel mat or Canson velvet pastel paper. I absolutely don't want to be drawing onto those pastel papers with graphite for a start, because the pastel won't sit on top of it. Graphite's like a resist and it's shiny. That's the first reason. I don't want to be rubbing anything out or making any mistakes on pastel mat or Canson velvet paper. I don't want to ruin the surface of the paper. So if you want to do your freehand, do it on just a bit of printer paper and then trace it over, and that's what I'm going to do. Right, so I've got my border, okay? That's going to help me to judge angles and the distance to come in by to do my drawing. Another way you can do it is by measuring with your pencil, okay? Measuring angles with your pencil. You could measure with a ruler, so say you wanted to say 5.5 for the eye and give yourself a few little points like that. You could measure with proportional dividers, okay? That makes it even easier. So you can just go, okay, that's to the pupil, come over here, make a mark, that's for the pupil. So there's lots and lots of different ways. Or you can freehand it and then use one of those tools to double check. Right. So let's start off by getting the general shape, okay? So if I did want to use a pencil to make a mark, I could, you know, be measuring in perhaps from the corner to the ear there, make a little mark there. I'm just using like a 2H pencil, making a little mark. So you know where things are. The eyes are going to be critical, okay? At this scale, you need to get them just about right. So that's to the pupil. So I can make a dot there. But I need to know how far down it's coming as well. So from the top to the pupil, it's roughly there. So where those two line up, which is there. So that's the pupil, that's not. So I could use an eraser or something if I wanted to, just to get that out of the way. Up to you, you could use a putty eraser, bit of blue tack. So that's the one eye, and then let's just have a look where the other eye is, because like I said, they are the most critical points. So it's up a little bit from that one. It's going to be roughly there. Just check it down from the top because it's at an angle. Well, that's going to be pretty close. So line it up the one way, line it up the other way. It's going to be roughly there. So that's going to be the pupils roughly there. So you see that angle? Like that, double check it, yeah, that's pretty close. So I can then say, okay, if that's the pupil, let's look out to this part of the head that comes out, around about here. And then, let's say, don't really need that. So that's that. Let's say it goes from the top, just to give a couple of marks. That's all I'm doing it for. So roughly there-ish. And this bit's going to be roughly there. And then, let's say, up from the bottom to the bottom part of the jaw is roughly-ish there to the mouth. Mouth's roughly there from the side. So that's that part of the mouth. Then it comes down at roughly that angle. So you can go with something like a 4H or whatever, you can go really light. Okay. So that's going up roughly to the corner of the eye. Now let's try and, that's the pupil, let's try and get this general shape that I'm seeing, and I expect to do things wrong. And then I can do all my adjustments here to try and take a bit of pressure off. So the eye comes out, let's say, around about there. Top of the nose, let's check that out. Roughly there. Then down from, let's go down from the top, or we can go up from the bottom, doesn't matter. Down from the top. Right, so it's going to be there, roughly, for the nose. Now that line goes almost to the eye. See at an angle like that? So I'm always looking for weird shapes and angles that I'm seeing. So this was the pupil. Remember, This is just there to help with the drawing. It's going to be rubbed out or used for the pastel transfer, and that's it, it'll end up in the bin. Here coming out there, the main. Just say from this side over to there. Yeah, that's about right. So it should be just outside the eye. Yeah, it's not far off. Got that area there that's really light, like that. That comes out, say to about there. Try and start at about that angle. Kind of like that. This goes roughly there's a general shape coming along. Let's see, if we go in line with the mouth, that comes out to about there. And the angle, kind of like that. Down from the eye, roughly say, hey. Here. More than that. So at this point, I could now, if I wanted to, I could double check things. So I could say distance from the eyes, that's quite important, pupil to pupil, bang on. You know, you can check things like that if you wanted to. So that way, you're having a go at freehand in it. But you can also double check it before you put it on to your pass mat paper. See, and if you've done little points like I've done, you shouldn't be too far out. Okay, you shouldn't be too far out. Chances are it's not going to be perfect, but chances are as well that it doesn't need to be perfect. If you like tracing it, blinking do it. Don't worry about other people. When other people are worrying about what I'm doing, I'm enjoying myself doing drawings anyway and doing it as I want to do it. So now I know I'm roughly right, so I can start to put in more now of these areas and judge them by other parts. It's a really good idea to test the size of the eyeball itself, because it's frequent that we go a bit too big on that. That should be in line with that, which roughly is. Remember, we're doing this so we can trace it over. So just put in the lines you want, but put in the lines that you want and need. You know, if you think you need some more, be accurate, put them in. Spend your time on it here. Let's go from that point there to the ear. Am I far off there? No, but it could be slightly bigger, see? Spend the time here so you're not going to have many alterations and mistakes or anything when you go over the pastel paper. Let's double check this one. Yep, it's working out right. What about the width? Could be made a bit narrower there, just slightly, a couple of millimeters. That's all that was. I can adjust that shape a bit better when I'm doing the pastels for the eye. If I was doing a really good drawing, I'd do it here, adjust it here, but I just want an accurate drawing, really accurate drawing. This doesn't need to be a work of art in itself. So that bit comes from the eye, these funny teardrops that we see. That. Looking at the musculature that's underneath, that's what's giving it this shape. Okay. Slightly too wide there. Let's bring that in. Better. That goes into that shadow, doesn't it, by there? So if you're then confident that you've got it right, come in and darken some areas up so it's easier to trace. So it's a 7B pencil. So just enough information. Spend a bit more time on it just so you can see it as a drawing, but just really want enough information, the outline, to be able to transfer it over. And do you know what's nice as well sometimes? You know, if you're getting fed up with people that are saying, oh, do you trace? Have you traced your outline? Why do you trace your outline? That's not a real drawing. If you're getting fed up with things like that, shouldn't let it bother you, but sometimes it's nice to do a drawing and to be like, yeah, I can do it if I want, if I got time. It is a good thing to be able to learn. It does give you a bit more confidence. And you don't have to rely as much on your transfer line because you've got the eye that can, you know, make adjustments and, what's the word I'm looking for? Assessing areas. So you can see if things are slightly out. As you get better and better, it's all of art is about, or realistic art anyway, it's about evaluating areas one against another. And by doing things like this, you are training the muscle, hand-eye coordination, training that muscle up so that you can make better and better assessments. Also helps you understand a bit more the musculature because you're thinking and following rather than just quickly tracing. But as you guys know, 99% of the time I'm tracing my outline. And you know, if you just can't get the hang and never have got the hang or not got the desire, that's the word, to draw freehand, then do what pleases you. If you've got some spare time, I know a lot of us don't have massive amount of spare time these days. If you've got some spare time, you can just sit down when the TV's on or something, grab a piece of paper, and perhaps something printed out, or perhaps a wildlife book on your lap or something. You can do a bit of freehand drawing. Right, so how's it going? It's not far out. A bit of adjustment to that when I'm actually doing the drawing as well on that pastel. It's like making all, you know, this is, as I said a few times, certainly not a final drawing at all. This is just going to give me those lines so I can then assess the most important part, or another very important part, which is tonal value. The lights and shades lights and darks. That's going to give us the shape and form. It's going to turn it from a two-dimensional sketch like this to looking like as if it's, you know, kind of 3D on the page, like the printout. Okay, so that's given me enough, much more actually, information than I need. But I got it carried away. It's a bit of fun to do. So now I can just use transfer paper and trace off of that. If you're struggling to draw animals or to improve your art, I can share with you the techniques I've learned over 25 years so you can avoid frustration and trial and error and start to enjoy drawing and creating straight away. Hi, my name is Jason Morgan. I'm a professional artist and I would love to be your guide on your unique art journey. I've fallen in love with pastels and I'm sure you will too. There's really no other medium that has the vibrancy and colour intensity and the ability to put light over dark. That's an absolute game changer for the animal artist. Now on my channel you get immediate access to hundreds of hours of lessons and demonstrations, and you go completely at your own pace. There is absolutely no rushing in my art channel and lessons. Think of it like a video library. You pick the video you like, something that really takes your fancy, and you take as long as you want to complete it. Or alternatively, you can watch my videos, learn the techniques and apply them to the subjects that really inspire you. And you also get new reference photos each month. They're copyright free. You can use them in your art, sell your art, no worries whatsoever. Many of my artists came to me with little to no art ability whatsoever, and they're truly amazed with what they're now creating. you could be doing that as well. Now, don't think age is a problem. You're really never too old to start learning and enjoying art, and many of my students are 40, 50, 60, 70, even 80 years of age. Now, my channel is about much more than lessons and techniques. You also get access to my secret private Facebook group, and that's full of members that's literally grown up with my channel. They're super supportive and kind. They come from all over the world. So if you've got any questions, you can rest assured there's going to be someone there really quick with a solution to your problems. Now, with my channel, you're not tied into any contract. You can literally come and go as you please. You can go up tiers, you can go down tiers, whatever you want. And there's a tier and a price to suit literally any pocket. Now, I've been doing art lessons for many, many years, and I really pride myself on trying to create the absolute best lessons and demonstrations I possibly can. I really hope to see you there soon so you can start your art journey, and I can't wait to see what you can achieve.